Hello, this is Dave from Synergy Health and Wellness. During my first video, we went over my foam rolling program, the purpose of which is to prepare your soft tissue to be lengthened during the stretching program. Now, if you haven't watched the foam rolling program yet, I recommend you go back and always, whenever you're doing this, whether you choose to do it at the beginning of your workout, at the end of your workout, or on off days, you'll want to foam roll before you stretch because that allows you to get the most out of your stretching program. So you may be asking yourself, how long should I hold these stretches for? What stretches am I doing? And how difficult should the stretches be? Well, you should hold the stretches for approximately 15 seconds. And you want the tension in the muscle to be about a 7 out of 10. You don't want to feel a ton of tension in the muscles that you're stretching because that'll just cause them to kind of tense up even more. And then you're really not getting any benefit out of your stretching program. So now, on to the stretches. The first stretch I like to do is for your adductors, which are on the insides of your thighs. So to get into this position, you want to keep one knee down and throw the other leg out to the side. Now, in this position, which is probably going to be comfortable for the vast majority of people who don't have a ton of flexibility, this probably is about a 7 out of 10. It's really not for your more flexible people, so in that instance, you want to go down to your elbows. Again, notice how my elbows are between this knee and the edge of that foot. I'm not all the way out over here because then I'm not going to be getting a stretch out of this leg. Now, this stretch is only appropriate if you can do it while at the same time keeping your lower back in a neutral position. In other words, you shouldn't go down to your elbows if it's causing your back to do this. You should be able to have a nice, flat, neutral spine, just like that. So you'll hold that for 15 seconds and then you'll move on to the other side. And then we move on to the next stretch, which is actually for the piriformis, which is the muscle we discussed in the foam rolling program that is oftentimes associated with sciatic pain. So to stretch the piriformis, I like to do a movement which is actually a yoga pose called pigeon. So what you want to do is you want to bring this other leg through here just like this, and you want this shin bone to be perpendicular to your body. Again, you want to be up on your hands if that's what's most comfortable to you. And you're going to start to walk this other foot back so that you're down. Now, if this doesn't feel like a 7 out of 10, you're not really getting a lot, you can go down right to your elbows again, as long as you're keeping a nice neutral spot. Now, for some people, even up on your hands might be a little too much. In that instance, I recommend using a table. And this will allow you to get into that position without forcing all your weight onto your body. So you're going to get this leg up on the table, supporting your knee and at least half of your thigh bone. You're just going to go like this. Now in this position, you're going to be able to go down to your elbows possibly, but you're really not going to be able to hold a neutral spine. So it'll be a little more rounded. But you're in a much more stable position. You're not forcing all your weight onto yourself. So once you've done that, if you can get this position with your hands up and then down, and then move to the ground on your hands and then down to your elbows, that'll be a good progression to do to kind of increase the length of your piriformis to a point where it really doesn't hurt. Like I said, a lot of people have a ton of tightness in their piriformis, and it can really disturb the sciatic nerve, which can lead to numbness and tingling down the leg. Now my next stretch is for your rectus femoris, and we'll also stretch some of the other hip flexors of this back leg. So you just want to be in a position where if you don't have good balance, you can grab onto something. And you're just going to reach back and grab this leg just like that. And notice I'm staying up nice and tall. I'm not rounding my back forward, and I'm not weebling and wobbling back and forth. If you feel like you're going to weeble and wobble, hold the wall just like this. Now, if you really don't feel like you're getting a stretch, what you want to do is to start pushing your hips forward. Make sure that heel is right at your butt, and you'll eventually begin to feel it right here. Now, if that stretch is too difficult for you, you could also stand and just kind of hold your leg like this. That doesn't really stretch your rectus femoris, but it will stretch some of the muscles of your quadricep. You'll notice from the side, when I'm doing this, my knee is right next to my other knee. You can also do this with the table. And the table does allow you to kind of get some more hip flexor into this movement. You could as well if you just held on to it, because you can leave your foot in this position and just kind of hop forward and sit down. And you'll feel that all through this leg. This also allows you to kind of not force yourself into that, very, very difficult position as well. Once I've done my hip flexors, I'm going to try to touch my toes. Feet together, knees together, and just go down just like this. Now, to be able to successfully touch your toes, you kind of have to displace your butt backwards so that your weight's on your heels. Because the second your weight comes forward onto your toes, these muscles start to tighten up and prevent you from getting into that position. If you can't get there, even if you are standing up and with your weight back on your heels, you could just do it like this. In some instances, it might not necessarily be where the weight is on your foot. It could be just that you don't have enough stability in your core to put you down into a full range of motion. You'll normally see that if you can touch your toes while you're seated, but you can't when you're standing up. The next stretch completes the lower body and is the calf stretch. Now I like to do the calf stretch on an elevated platform, whether it be on the edge of a bench or a step like this, just so that I can get the ball of my foot up above the corner. And when I first do this stretch, I'm going to keep my knees straight and I'm just going to push my hip forward until I feel all the tension right down in here. Again, I'm going to hold that for 15 seconds. Once I'm done, I'm going to bend this knee. I'm going to do the same thing. Now what that does is it moves the stretch from your gastroc down to your soleus. And those are two separate muscles, so you really want to stretch them both. Now that's the completion of my lower body stretches. Now we can go to the upper body. I'll start with a chest stretch. You notice my hand's not way up above my head. It's down basically at the same level of my shoulder. And I'm just turning and looking the other way. And you'll feel that all right in here. In my next stretch, I like to kind of go into my neck, put my arm behind my back, and pull my head to my side. I don't want to jack up my neck. I just want it to feel nice, and you'll feel that all down here into this trap as well. Just want, again, a number 7 out of 10. Then I'm going to switch sides. And then I'm just going to close my mouth, put my teeth together, and pull my chin to my chest. It's important not to yank on your head or side to side or forward backward. You really don't want to put a ton of tension in there. It's something you really want to work on more gradual. Now, the last stretch I'll do is I'll just kind of pull my arm across my chest. Then I'll stretch some of the muscles on your back. So that's my basic stretching program. I'm not trying to get too crazy with this. A lot of times when I get clients, they have far greater needs, but for the most part, most people will do well to do these stretches. All these stretches kind of address issues that most people see. And then when I go from the stretching, I'll start to activate muscles and then do mobility work, which will actually be the topic of my third video. When we're activating, we want to wake up muscles that might be dormant because we don't use them very much. And during mobility drills, we kind of want to, rather than just hold stretches, we kind of want to do movements so that it's more of, I guess I would say, more functional type of movement. Whereas, just holding this isn't very functional. You're not doing much other than lengthening tissue. But when we're doing mobility drills, we want to actually push multiple joints through ranges of motion and try to get them to have the qualities that we'd like them to have. So on my next video, I'll go through that, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, comments, or otherwise, I'd love to hear them. Thank you.